Hello students, welcome once again. I hope all of you are safe at your home. Students, today I am going to teach you chapter 8, Weathering and Soil. You all have heard about the term as weathering, erosion, denudation, degradation. So what are the meanings of these terms? Denudation or degradation is the process by which rock materials from the earth's surface are removed, resulting in the general lowering of the land surface. These materials are then deposited elsewhere in depressions, such as valleys, lakes and seabeds. The depressions fill up and the level of the surface rises. This process is known as aggradation. Together, these two processes, degradation and aggradation, are termed as gradation. Degradation and aggradation makes gradation. Gradation helps in leveling the land surface. Weathering. So what is weathering? Weathering is the process by which rocks on the land surface break down or crumble because of the action of the elements of weather, such as rain, frost and temperature changes. This process involves physical as well as chemical action. Weathering occurs in situ, for example, at the place where the rocks are present, and so does not involve any movement of weathered rocks. Erosion follows the process of weathering. Erosion is the process by which the weathered materials are transported elsewhere by agents such as running water, moving ice, waves and winds. So erosion is the process of weathering. Erosion is process by which the weathered material are transported from one place to another place. Factors affecting weathering. There are various factors which influence weathering in an area. These are local climate, mineral composition and structures of rocks, vegetation cover in an area, amount of exposed or bare rock surface and human activities. So these are some elements which influence the weathering. Now we will discuss about the types of weathering. There are mainly three types of weathering. First is physical weathering or mechanical weathering. In physical weathering or mechanical weathering, rocks break up or disintegrate without any change in their chemical composition. It is because also called mechanical weathering and or disintegration, and can happen in many ways. So how is physical weathering or mechanical weathering happens? There are it's happen in many ways. These are: first, rocks become weak and their grains loosen and fall out because of alternate heating and cooling. When the temperature becomes, sometimes temperature becomes very cool and sometimes the temperature becomes very hot, so the grain of the rock becomes loosened with each other. Heating and expansion during the day and cooling and contraction at night. Over a period of time, the rocks disintegrate grain by grain. This is called granular disintegration. It is common in deserts. So when the rocks disintegrate grain by grain, it is called the granular disintegration. And when the surface layers of rounded rocks and boulders gradually peel off in layers. Similar to the peeled layers of an onion, the process is called exfoliation. The process is called exfoliation. 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 This occurs due to the expansion of the outer layer during the day and the contraction of the same layer during the night, repeatedly over a period of time. In the temperate latitudes, the action of frost shatters rocks. Most rocks that suffer frost action have cracks, joints or pore spaces, and rainwater or snow usually collects in them. During the night, the fall in temperature results in the freezing of this water in the joints and pores. This exerts pressure on the walls of the cracks as frozen water expands by 1/10 of its volume. So, the cracks widen and deepen. The following morning, the frost thaws and the water goes deeper in the crack. Thus, the repeated freezing and thawing results in the deepening and widening of cracks, which break up the rock into angular fragments. This process is termed frost action. So students, as you can see in this image, there is a 3 stages of rock. The 3 stages of rock weathering through frost action. Water seeps into cracks in the rock. You can see in this image. In this image, water seeps into crack in the rocks. And in next image, the water expands as it freezes and exerts pressure on the rock, and over the period of time the rocks break. Next is chemical weathering or decomposition. Chemical weathering occurs when the minerals present in the rocks react chemically with water or gases in the atmosphere, leading to the disintegration of the rocks. Chemical weathering is one of the most important processes that lead to soil formation. This type of weathering is most common in equatorial and tropical regions where there is enough heat and moisture for chemical reactions to occur within rock masses. There are 4 types of chemical weathering. First is oxidation. This happens when the oxygen present in the air or water reacts with certain minerals present in the rock. Oxides form and the rock slowly crumbles. For example, iron present in a rock combines with oxygen to form iron oxide or rust. Iron, which is present in the rock, plus oxygen makes oxide or rust. Oxide or rust, which is reddish brown in color. This rust weakens the rock and eventually breaks it. Second types of chemical weathering is carbonation. Second is carbonation. Carbonation. Sometimes carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere dissolves in rainwater to form a weak acid called carbonic acid. The acidic rainwater reacts with rock like limestone, marble and chalk that are made chiefly of calcium carbonate. Carbon dioxide plus rainwater makes carbonic acid. Carbonic acid which is dissolved in rainwater to form a weak acid called carbonic acid. The acidic rainwater reacts with rocks like limestone, marble and chalk that are made chiefly of calcium carbonate. Next type of chemical weathering is hydration. This occurs when water itself chemically combines with some minerals present in rocks. Thus, minerals such as feldspar and potash absorb water and become a powdery mass due to the process of hydration, resulting in their erosion. And last chemical weathering is solution. This is the simplest form of chemical weathering by which some minerals in the rocks dissolve in water when rainwater falls on these rocks or when river water flows over them. The soluble minerals dissolve and are removed, resulting in the breakup of the rocks. Rock, salt, gypsum and silica are examples of minerals that are highly soluble. Next type of weathering is biological weathering. Some rocks are also weathered by the action of plants, animals and human beings. This type of weathering may be both physical as well as chemical. Roots of plants growing in the cracks and joints of rocks widen the gaps. These rocks often break up. Ants, earthworm and burrowing animals such as rats and rabbits loosen soil and make tunnels and thus cause weathering of rocks. Our next topic is soil. Weathering continuously breaks down rocks and rock fragments into tiny particles that form soil. Physical, chemical and biological processes are involved in soil formation. Soil consists of mineral particles, moisture, living organisms like bacteria and earthworms, and decayed organic matter. It is one of the most important resources as human beings depend on it, both directly and indirectly, for their basic needs of food, shelter and clothing. It takes thousands of years for even a thin layer of soil to form. Now, we will discuss about the soil profile. Most soils occurs in several horizontal layers. Students, as you can see, this is the image of the soil profile. So, most soil in several horizontal layers which becomes clearly visible when a vertical section of the soil is exposed. This vertical section is called a soil profile. This is a vertical section of the soil, and so this is called the soil profile. Such profiles are commonly seen along roads and railway lines which pass through open tunnels. At the base of the lowest level of the profile is the bedrock. As you can see in this image, there is a bedrock. You can see bedrock. Point A is called the bedrock. Bedrock is the lowest level of the profile, which is unweathered. It is also called the parent rock. You can see there is a parent rock and this part is unweathered part. Over it is a layer of partly weathered rocks, layer B. Layer B is a partly weathered rock. Above it is a third layer called the subsoil. A is the lowest layer, B above the A, and C is the third layer of the soil and it is called the subsoil. which is made up of finer rocks and silt and clay. The topmost layer is the top soil. You can see this is D point, and D point is the topmost layer of the soil profile, and it is called the top soil, which consists of clay, silt, sand and humus. So what is humus? Humus is the decomposed organic matter obtained from dead animal and plant remains that make the soil fertile. Next is soil erosion. So what is soil erosion? Soil erosion refers to the washing away or removal of the layers of soil by various agents like running water and wind. Sheet erosion and gully erosion are the two most common ways by which soil gets eroded. When there is heavy rainfall, the top layer of soil over large areas gets washed away. This is known as sheet erosion. When rainwater in a region flows down the slopes, making deep and narrow furrows, it is called gully erosion. Now we will discuss about the methods of soil conservation. Means how we can conserve the soil. So the first method is contour tilling. In this method, the farmer tills or plugs the field along the contours of the land rather than tilling up and down the slope. Contour tilling is practiced in hilly areas rather than the plains. So what is the contour line? You know that in previous class we had studied about the contour lines. This is the contour lines. So in contour tilling, farmer tills or plugs the field along the contour lands rather than tilling up and down the slope. Contour tilling is practiced in hilly areas rather than the plains. It prevents the soil from being washed away by water or by surface runoff, as the contour acts like a bud. The contour also facilitates the percolation of water into the soil. Second way to conserve the soil is terrace forming. In hilly regions, rainwater can cause great damage to the land as it runs down the slope with great force. To reduce the force of the water, farmers try to level the land by cutting steps into the hill slopes like this. Like this, farmers try to make the forming. These steps, you can see this is steps. These steps are called terrace. Terraces prevent rainwater from eroding the soil. They are also used to grow crops. Next is shelter belts. Winds pick up speed and gain in strength as they blow across wide open spaces. These strong winds can carry away the fertile topsoil. To prevent this, belts of tall trees and shrubs are grown across the direction of winds. They act as windbreaks, reducing the force of the wind and thus protecting the soil. Next is strip cropping. Strip cropping. Strip cropping is also known as multiple cropping. It is also known as multiple cropping. Strip cropping involves planting crops on narrow strips of land which alternate with strips that contain soil protecting plants such as bushes or trees. Another method of strip cropping is to plant different crops in different strips. This provides the farmer with more than one crop. And the last is controlled grazing. A simple method of soil conservation is to restrict the grazing of cattle, sheep and goats on grasslands and within forests. When cattle graze on fields, grass and smaller plants get torn from their roots, leaving the soil loose and exposed to wind and water erosion. Land meant for grazing of cattle should be specially selected and fenced off. The role played by soil in world health, growth and development of the country and environment stability makes it necessary to conserve it and use it in a sustainable manner. So student, it is all for today. Do the chapter thoroughly, learn it. Thank you.